It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome. It's the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. I am Jill Schlesinger. I am the CBS News business analyst. I'm also a certified financial planner. And the guy running the show, his name is Mark Talercio. He's the executive producer, best one in the world. He is also a certified financial planner. And why is that important? It is important because we tend to think of the world holistically. We tend to think about you and your financial lives holistically as more than just numbers. And I think that when you come on the air and you ask your financial questions, you hear that. But it's also one of the reasons why it makes it a little bit more difficult when you just send an email. Of course, we're happy to answer your emails, but we really would love it if you would like to come on the program. Just go to jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button, fill out that form, and then, of course, we would be delighted to get you on the air. Today, we are starting the program with Martin. Martin is on the line from Atlanta.
I am 52. I'm late to the personal finance arena, but I want to know if I can still retire in 5 years.
Okay, Mark, let's just answer that right now. No, you can't. Okay, we're next. I'm only kidding. Tell us about yourself. How you, when you're late to the game, what have you amassed so far, and what do we need to know about you?
Okay, so I work in education, and I am completing my 28th year, and so I look forward to retiring in 5 years, and I will probably have like 35 years experience just because of some accumulated leave, and so I will have a pension of $105 per year pre-tax.
Wow, $105,000 a year. Do you have a cost of living adjustment on that pension?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
yes, we do, yes.
So you're entitled to take that at age 57. Does that $105,000 a year, would that, I know it's pre-tax, but let's say that after taxes you clear $80,000. Would that pay the bills that you have right now?
Let's see, I probably still would need maybe four to 10 per year.
Like another $10,000 a year total?
Yes.
Okay, let's say $12,000 a year, because I like to make things easy. So you would need another $12,000 a year. All right, that seems reasonable. Have you saved any money in a defined contribution plan? In your case, it might be a 457 or a 403B.
I do. The 403B, currently I have about 170. And then I have a Roth, again, started late, so I have about 12. I have savings. I got $30,000 in savings.
Where do you live? You have a house or do you have an apartment?
No,
a rental.
I'm sorry, I live in a house.
Okay. How much is the house worth?
About $800.
Wow. Nicely done. Is there still a mortgage outstanding?
Yes, it's a recent move, so about $450.
What's the mortgage interest rate? Do you know?
2.625.
Oh my God. And is it a 30-year?
Yes.
Okay, no extra payments on that.
Of course not.
Of course not. Any other debt outstanding? Any old like student loans or a car loan, anything like that?
We have a car loan about 16, but the interest rate is 1.9. We have a HELOC, but it's only for, serious emergencies because we haven't even touched it.
You said a we. Is there a spouse here?
Yes, my wife. She makes about $30,000 a year. For her investments, she has about 12 in a Roth IRA, and so combine some old 403Bs, she has about 35. Yeah.
Is she also going to be entitled to a pension or not?
Yes, but her pension probably about $500 a month.
Is the game plan that she too would work another 5 years and then collect that $500 a month?
I don't know. You
should talk to her sometime. I bet she's nice.
She's not ready. She's not ready to retire. She's not ready to project or predict when she will stop working. So
okay, let me ask you this. Let's say it's 5 years from now, and you have this $105,000 coming in pre-tax, and your wife continues to make $30,000 a year. Could you guys live on that total? Like
yes.
135. Maybe we net out 100, and would that be okay?
Yes, we could. And I don't mind finding a part-time job or something that's not, connected to my current profession. So yes, I don't mind.
Are you currently putting money into the 403B? And if so, how much are you putting in?
I am right now. I'm putting $1,000 a month, but my plan is to up it to $1,500 a month in January, and of course, with the increase in the Roth IRA contribution, the extra $500. And I guess another question I have is, again, because I'm late to the game, I'm all equity. You have two arguments. You have some people who say, well, because you have this pension, you can be more aggressive, or because you have this pension, maybe you should be conservative to keep as much as you can. So I'm torn.
Do you guys have kids?
Yes, we have two kids. One's a freshman in college, and one is a junior in high school. And our plan, we're cash flowing college for the kids. Fortunately, in Georgia, if you have great grades, they take care of your tuition. My freshman daughter, she's doing research, so she gets a couple thousand for that. She's applied to be an RA, so she's on board as well. So she's trying to cut costs. And we told our kids, we will cash flow up to maybe your junior year, and then you might have to do a partial loan just so that they have some skin in the game. And then when I retire, I can cash out. I would receive a quarter of my salary. So my wife and I said, if they have loans, we would use that maybe as a gift to pay off any loans.
Okay, that seems reasonable, though. Is your wife currently contributing to a retirement account as well?
No, just the Roth IRA.
Okay. So you guys are both maxing your Roths.
Yes.
I'm interested because you have this 5-year ramp up, right? Your current salary is how much?
$150.
I'm wondering whether I even want you to put money in the 403B. I presume there's no Roth option for your 403B. Is that correct, or am I incorrect?
You are correct.
I am correct. No Roth option.
Right. Oh, yeah. Another question. Should I open up a brokerage account, or is it too late?
Well, that's what I'm thinking about. Here's what I'm considering. You got this $170,000 in the 403B. But, I'm also wondering if for you, between your age 57, there's like a decade that we're going to fund, right? Because you'll be entitled to Social Security, will you not?
No, unfortunately, no.
Oh, you will not. But will your wife or not?
Yes. Really, I am eligible just because of the time when I worked from being a teenager up through my 20s. So I saw that I would receive $300 or $400 a month, but because of the pension, they have that policy where if you have a certain amount of money, it decreases your Social Security.
Yeah.
So I don't even consider that as part of it.
Okay, so let's not even think about that. So you will have income, right? We know that your pension is $105,000. Your wife is going to add another $5,000 or $6,000 to that. So let's just say between the two of you, you'll have $110,000 a year coming in, which is great.
Yeah.
The question becomes, where do we start saving for the excess? Like, as things get more expensive, where should we save? And I'm a little torn right now because I know it's easy to put money in the 403B because it happens automatically, payroll deduction. We'll get back to Martin in just a second. Hey, during the break, why don't you go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and just bookmark it. That's all you have to do. Jill on Money. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. This is a program that tries to help you make better financial decisions. And the way that we do that is we encourage you to go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. So easy. It's right there. Easy peasy. And while you're on the website, you can click the Contact Us button. But we also understand that you may have more sophisticated, more detailed, maybe more complicated issues that you need to work out. And perhaps you are thinking about using a financial planning firm. If that's the case, we would encourage you to check out our sponsor, Facet Wealth. Now, Facet Wealth, they also have folks who are certified financial planners. That means they're fiduciaries. They provide personalized financial planning for a fixed fee. So if you are seeking a jargon-free advice model for everything that money impacts in your life and you might need some help executing your financial plan, you can visit cbsaudio.com/Jill for 2 months free off your first year of financial planning. That's with our sponsor, Facet Wealth, so you might want to check them out. Okay, so before the break, we were talking to Martin from Atlanta. And Martin was calling in about feeling a little anxiety around late to the game with retirement. So let's get back to Martin. Given that Martin is 52 years old and we've got, in 5 years, we need to start really piling up money. It's not like there's a ton of money in 403B assets. I guess the question is whether it makes more sense to get some tax deduction today versus paying the tax and putting money in a brokerage account. Mark, I'm giving you the choice. What do you think?
Since he wants to call it quits at 57, I would want some money that's not behind that. I think the listener called it the paywall. So I would open up a brokerage account. I mean, if there's a match, get the match. But I think everything else I would put in a brokerage.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm sort of considering that if you're going to go $1,000 or $1,500 a month into the 403B at this point, I might shift that. Where is your Roth IRA held?
Vanguard.
At Vanguard. I think you could open up a Vanguard brokerage account, pretty much just build what I would call it a supplemental retirement account. And you'd want to use index funds because it's taxable. But it's funny, you guys are going to be in a pretty high tax bracket, not high, but you're going to collect some decent income here, right? And even in 5 years, if your wife continues to work, you're kind of solidly in this 22% tax bracket, which is where you are now.
Correct.
So I would start building up a brokerage account. Now, the question about stocks versus no stocks, here's what I want you to think about. The brokerage account must have less risk because you might need to dip into it. It could be that in 5 years you retire and your wife's like, remember I said I want to keep working? I don't want to keep working. In which case, you would want to have some extra money floating around and you'd want to be able to tap some of the money. And so I think to start your brokerage account, the goal from, sort of the allocation point of view would be like half risky, half not so risky. If you wanted to keep all stocks in your 403B or even in your Roth, I'm a wimp and I'm on the record being a wimp. I don't know if you need to have that much risk. You could have more like 80% in stocks and 20% in, less risky or less volatile bonds. But there is an argument to be made that you're just saving money for a super long runway that's really essentially for your kids. And if you don't mind the risk, you probably will not tap your 403B until you have to at age 72.
Correct.
And so if you're comfortable holding that much risk, I don't know if there's a big impetus to change it. And there is also, and this is about how you feel, but there is the other side of it, which you articulated, which is, well, why am I taking risk if I don't have to? I mean, I don't need it. I don't really need it. But if it doesn't bother you, I don't see there's a big issue here. The risk parameters, you should think about the Roth money is the very last money that anyone is going to access. That can be the riskiest. The next step down in risk would be the 403B. The next step down in risk would be the brokerage account. And that's how I would look at it. I think you're going to be able to retire. When you started this conversation, I'm 52 and I want to retire in 5 years. I'm like, no. But now I think you're all right.
Right. And I really mean retiring from my current position, taking on a new venture.
Okay. Well, even then, think about the fact that if at age 57, between you and your wife, you made $50,000 or $60,000, you're golden. You're absolutely golden. And that brokerage account is just a little bit of a safety net for you guys. And maybe the brokerage account builds up. You never touch it. And your kids are done with college and you help them pay back their loans. That's fine. We're not going to do it yet, but I think that will work for you.
Okay. So since my plan was to increase the contribution to 1,500, should I 750? Like how much? What's the allocation for the 403b and the brokerage, or do I just cease contributions to the 403b?
How do you? I mean, you can start by doing it this way. How about this? In 2023, why don't you put 750 into the 403b and 750 into a brokerage? See how you do. I think you're going to end up moving all to brokerage, but let's do that for a year. How's that? Now, you think you're going to stay in this house, by the way?
Yes, we're going to stay there for at least, 10 to 20, yes.
Great. You've got a lot of equity in there. It's just that, obviously that rate is ridiculous. It's so good. So I wouldn't want to give it up if I didn't have to. So as long as you say you don't want to move, don't move. Do you guys have any life insurance that's floating around that we should get rid of?
I mean, right now I have $1 million. I think I have maybe 15 more years, and my wife has 500.
Okay. And you have your estate documents in place?
I'm going to be honest with you. They're printed, and they have sat on our office desk for almost a year. So no.
I need a special sound effect, Mark, for the people who have printed but not signed and notarized. The hurdle must be quite high to pick up a pen and use a blue pen, Good Lord. Get it done.
We will get it done.
All right.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I know how you comment on, you'll get hate mail because of, people have acquired so much of their assets. But I like to say for those who haven't, use it as a learning opportunity for the next generation, because everything that I didn't do in my 20s, 30s, and some of my 40s, my kids are aware, so they're on the right track. So I think the haters can use it to motivate others.
I like that. I mean, haters don't be haters. Also, I can learn from people also.
Yes.
You also realize that part of the reason that people have so much money is they've just chosen different professions. I mean, I'm sure that if your training had led you not into education, but all of a sudden you were, an engineer and you worked at in a technology company, you would have a higher net worth. But some of it is just luck. You chose a profession that worked out. Some of it is real ability to save and squirrel that money away. Some of it, like in your case, I devoted myself to a profession that wasn't high paying. It didn't necessarily allow me to put a ton of money away, but I can make it because I chose a profession where there is a pension. And I think that there are a lot of ways to get where you want to go. So most of the time, like Mark and I, we meet a ton of people who have tons and tons of money. Sometimes they're just lucky. Sometimes they're smart. Sometimes they worked for a great company that went public and they were lucky about it. Some of them work for old farty media companies like the one we do, and they were just lucky to accumulate stock at a time or retire when it was still high. All of these things, they're often luck. We shouldn't draw these big conclusions and make judgments about people. We should just say, tell us where you want to go. We hope we can get you there. And I think in your case, Martin, you're going to get there. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. And you let us know how it goes, all right?
Okay, I will. I'll reach out to you in a year.
All right, that sounds great. Hey, if you want to spitball your retirement game plan with us, all you need to do is go to our website, jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we get to the next listener question about their financial lives, I want to tell you something really exciting. I have a new book, and it is coming out next month in January. The book is called The Great Money Reset. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. And it is available for pre-order right now. The neat thing about this is that when you pre-order the book, there's a few fun things that happen. Number one, you will be able to get a spot in a live online webinar on Wednesday, February 8th. And you also get a signed book plate for each pre-order that you make. All you need to do is go to the website, jillonmoney.com, click that little button that says pre-order, and you will get it. Isn't that neat? I'm pretty excited about this. Be cool. All right, right now, let's go to Scott, who's on the line from North Carolina. Hello, Scott. What brings you to us today?
Hi, Jill. Hi, Mark. Well, after a very long tenure with my employer, I have decided to retire at the end of the year. And I'm fortunate to have a pension. And the interesting thing about the pension is it comes with a pretty large lump sum. And I really don't want to make a mistake. So I'm reaching out to you to get some advice on what to do with this.
Okay.
And hopefully you can give me a few tips to consider.
Okay, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about you first, Scott. How old are you?
I am 60 years old. I am married. My wife is retired. She's 59.
Mm-hmm.
We have no children.
Is she retired from a job that also gave her a pension?
Yes, she has a relatively small pension, about $400 a month.
Okay, great. Give us a little bit of the options around your pension. So you said there is a lump sum and a monthly amount. Is it two parts of it, or is it one or the other?
It's one or the other. The way that interest rates are this year, there will be a pretty large drop off in the lump sum for 2023 and probably 2024.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of swayed me into taking the lump sum payment. There is an annuity option available,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the things that we've been considering is to purchase an annuity on the kind of open market, if you will, through some very reputable companies. The amounts that are available through them are quite substantially higher than what the company was offering.
Interesting. So did you already make the election for the lump sum?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the final paperwork, but it definitely seems like something it would be smart for me to do.
How much is the lump sum amount?
It's pretty large. It's somewhere in the vicinity of $1.6 million.
Holy crap. That is huge. So you work for a private company, you're not working for a school system or anything, right?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
That lump sum, when you grab that as a lump sum, you're not saying that you're going to pay tax on that. You're saying you're going to use the lump sum and roll it into something. Is that correct?
That's what we're thinking, yes.
Okay.
My wife and I are both, we've never really been without a paycheck, so we want to have some level of guaranteed income that we can count on.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you another question. How much income would you really like net to you guys?
Well, we really like to have it cover kind of the majority of our fixed expenses that we deal with every month. We figured that our expenses are somewhere between $9,000 and $10,000 a month. And not having been retired, I'm not sure if that will go up or down. We're probably thinking it might go down a little bit.
Yeah, let's use that number.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. 100, 120 grand a year you need. That seems reasonable. What was your salary? As you end your career, what's the salary that you've been living on right now?
It's in the neighborhood of $200,000.
Okay, great. In addition to this massive pension, do you have a defined contribution plan, a 401k?
Yeah, we're pretty lucky. We've been pretty religious savers. I think we have somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.6 million in those accounts. 401ks, about 10% of that is in a Roth.
So you have the lump sum of 1.6, 401k of 1.6. What about non-retirement assets? What do you got floating around?
I think it's around like 300,000. We have a credit unions that we work with that would probably about $150,000 there. Some additional monies in, I guess, what you'd call a kind of a brokerage account. That's about the other 150. I think we're in a good spot. I guess what we're really concerned about is getting to the point where we have Social Security at 67, and
Not at 67. You're going to be at 70, by the way. We're not claiming till 7. What will your Social Security at 70 be?
I think it's around 4,000, something like that.
For you or for between the two of you?
That would probably just be me. And then my wife would, we were thinking that she could take her benefit at 62 or something like that. And then
I don't even want her to take anything. Tell me a little bit about what you have found on the market for annuities. If you were to choose, let's call it an immediate annuity, right? Let's say you put, I don't know if you're shopping this around to put all of the money in or some of the money in, but tell us a little bit about what you've found in terms of the income that can be created.
Yeah, we've been working with our friends at Fidelity, and they're very picky about who they select in terms of the insurance companies that provide those annuities. And right now, anywhere between $8,000 and $8,700 a month, if you were to take the full amount.
Hold on a second. Let's think. If you take the full amount, you would be able to churn out $8,000 a month in income. We'll get back to Scott's question in just a second. If you have a financial question, an estate planning question, a life insurance question, you know where to come to us at JillOnMoney.com. You can do all sorts of things, like you can pre-order the new book, The Great Money Reset. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. And you'll also be invited to join us for a live webinar, and that's going to be in February. The book drops in January. You can do all this stuff right now. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we will be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. And we do that by answering financial questions. You can just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. You can click on the Contact Us button, and we'd be delighted to bring you on the air with us. We'd be delighted to answer your email question, whatever. But that said, there's something really interesting that I think is happening right now, which is this is the moment in the year where you just want to shut down. I get it. It's hard. We all want to do that. It just sort of is a human inclination. If that's you, I'm just hoping that maybe right before you shut down for the year, that you perhaps consider the fact that maybe, just maybe, there are some year-end financial moves that you could make. Maybe it has to do with your taxable investment account. Maybe it's about putting a little extra money in your workplace retirement plan. If you need those kinds of guidelines, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and under the blog, I've got the year-end money moves that you should be making. I know, time's short. You probably don't have that much time. I get it, but at least try. It's not bad to just at least take a look at it, ballpark it. Just go check out the blog section of the JillOnMoney.com website. Okay, before we had gone to the break, we were talking to Scott from North Carolina, who is retiring at the end of this year, and he's got a pension decision to make. So we're going to get back to Scott right now. That $8,000 would be taxable, though. What would happen? And is that is that a joint and survivor?
Yes, that's exactly right. We were looking at that along with kind of a refund provision for a period certain of about 10 to 15 years, so that basically, that 1.6 million would get paid to somebody if we weren't around.
Yeah, I would think about this.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah, go on.
$8,000 a month with the annuity. They've got $3.2 million. 3% of that is $8,000 a month. So,
but he does want to turn on some income, I think is what I'm hearing. Is that right? In other words, it feels weird to you to have to pull the money out rather than have the money sent to you. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, I think there's a part of the investment that I would like to have locked in and not have to worry about it.
What would the annuity be from the company if you elected the annuity option?
Yeah, good question. Right now, it was like about 6,300. So it's a significant difference, and I think part of that is the rising interest rates, and the insurance companies providing the annuity have a little greater latitude to provide a little bit more of a benefit. And with that amount, that's what they were saying, is that was going to be one of the few times in their recent history where going to another organization would be more beneficial than working with your employer.
That guarantee from the company, which, you're not paying all the fees and the money's not locked up in an annuity, plus 3% from the 401ks, that gives you, right around $10,000 a month.
I mean, it is kind of nice. And you preserve a little bit more optionality, right?
Yeah, and I'm not married to the annuity either. That's one of the reasons why I called it is what are the options here?
I like the idea that you have the lump sum because you're right, because there's like this weird disparity, So what I would do is this. I just feel like this requires a lot of drilling down through these options and determining which one makes you feel most comfortable. Not just like what is the optimized for the best financial gain. It's optimized for financial gain and gives you peace of mind, right? So I think you guys need a fee-only advisor to really work with on this. Do you agree with that, Mark? I mean, because there's a lot of money here. There's no problems. Everything is good. There is not a problem to be had. Zero problem. If that's the case, then you know what? Let's make sure you don't make a, it's not going to be like a mistake, but let's pick an option that's really going to work best for you guys. And I think that if you have someone, again, I know time is sort of short, but if you have someone who can crunch some numbers for you in the next couple of weeks, I think I'd feel more comfortable about that if I'm in your situation. And then you have a better way to really look at these choices. Because as Mark said, there's a couple of different ways to go. And part of this is also that like you've done such a great job in saving. It's like an embarrassment of riches. So we may not have to pick the most financially optimized solution. We do have to pick the best solution for you guys. So I think getting a fee-only advisor might make a lot of sense for you guys right now. I think there's a lot of advisors who would be happy to say, like, give me $5 or $10,000 and I will run through every single option, everything. Like, that's what you need. You need like someone you can pay a flat fee and feel like they're going to be working in your best interest. And so what I'm going to do is I think that we're going to give you a couple of names off the air and we'll try to match you up with someone who kind of gets you. And you'll know that pretty quickly. You'll feel like, oh, okay, this person gets me. That's great. How's that sound? Does that sound like a better way to, I mean, I know, again, time is short, but I really want to make sure we get this right with you.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that when everyone's listening to this, I mean, it's wonderful to hear your voices and hear your stories, but some of these decisions are they're like time intensive in terms of number crunching. And I think that having somebody who can look at this from lots of different angles might make a lot of sense for you guys. So that's what I'm going to suggest. So hang on. We'll get you some info. If you have a financial decision to make, we'd love to hear from you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we would love to have you on the air. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to answer your financial questions. Let's finish up the hour with an email. This is from Linda, who writes, I am 64 years old, widowed, and will be working at my current company only 1 to 2 more years. After listening to your podcast, I recently switched my contribution to the company Roth 401k from the traditional 401k. The majority of my retirement money is in pre-tax accounts, and I have a fairly sizable brokerage account too. So I think here's the question coming from Linda. Does it make sense to use my company's Roth 401k plan that no longer has a match, or am I better off taking that money and investing it myself? I know at this point in my life it might not make a big long-term difference, but I am interested to learn what makes the most financial sense. Well, you say you already have a fairly sizable brokerage account, so we're not trying to build up some liquidity. So I actually think using the Roth might be a good option for you, Linda. I mean, let's just think about this realistically. You have this money. It is already set aside. You've got pre-tax money. Wouldn't it be nice to have a bunch of money that you just don't have to worry about? It's already been taxed. You don't have to worry about current taxation. Of course, when you retire, you'll have that Roth account, right? And you will not be forced to take any required distributions from that account. It can keep growing without taxation. And I don't know if you have kids or not, but it is actually a really good asset. A Roth IRA is a really good asset to leave to an heir. So, Linda, I think that you use the Roth, and maybe even if you want to follow up with us, wonder if perhaps it might make sense once you do stop working to convert some of that pre-tax money into a Roth. But again, that requires a little bit more follow-up. All right. I hope that helps. You are listening to Jill on Money. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. Give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the Jill on Money program. And as we always like to say, this is the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life. And really the only way that we can do that is to have you ask us your financial questions. And it's so easy to do. Just go to our website. It's JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com. And there's a Contact Us button there. You write out your email, you let us know what's on your mind, no sweat, no pressure, and either we'll read it on the air or we'll try to get you to come on the air. Just remember to check that little box that says, yes, Jill, I want to come on the air with you. And that way we can help you out. And, a lot of times people are embarrassed. Don't worry. There is nothing you can tell us that's going to be weird or, we've heard it all. There are no judgments here. We don't want to go back and litigate the decisions you made in the past, except to help us understand how we can improve your future. So do that and it'll be so much easier. Okay, right now we are going to talk to Carrie, who's on the line from Virginia.
Hi, Jill. And I'm just super excited to be on the show.
Excellent.
I have a couple questions regarding my financial health.
Okay.
And especially how to save better and invest smart.
Okay, I'm already going to guess that you're saving just fine. You seem very excited. So now no one sounds excited when they're worried about I don't have enough money. That's what I think. I think you sound very excited and upbeat, which makes me think you're probably already in good shape. So let's go. Tell us about yourself.
So I'm 40 and my husband is 42. Mm-hmm. We have one toddler who is 2.5. We have no more children, which is great.
You got the Mark Talercio plan.
Yes. So we live in the DC area, and our household income is $500K.
Wow. That's great. Congratulations. That's a big chunk of money. Good for you guys.
My husband, he's a lawyer. He works at a top law firm. He makes $100K plus bonus of $100K a year. Mm-hmm. But he works 100 hours per week.
Oh, that's interesting. 100, 100, 100.
I don't
100,
know.
100 base, 100 bonus, 100 hours a week. That's a lot of work. Okay. What about you? Are you also a lawyer or you do something different?
I would never want to be a lawyer. It's just too crazy.
What do you earn?
I make 130K
Okay.
plus a 5K bonus every year. So my husband, his plan is to get a new job probably next year or so to reduce his income. That most likely he will have 2/3 of his pay. And
Okay, that's not terrible if he can have a life. If you could,
yeah,
in other words, if he said, okay, instead of 200, I'm making 140, that seems like a pretty good trade off if you can have a life. I don't know if, is he the type who's going to work hard no matter what, though?
no.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Is this drop off in income, is it going to change your lives, you think?
No,
Okay.
because we don't really spend much money. Every month, no matter how much more we make, we pretty much stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's great. All right. So how much do you think you spend?
8 to 10K every month, including the mortgage and everything.
So you make 130 plus a $5,000 bonus. He makes 200,000. Are you both maxing out your 401ks or 403bs?
Yes, we do max out our 401k. Actually, my husband make close to 400K.
You said, Mark, did she say 100 and 100? I heard that. Let's do that again. Okay. So how much does your husband make?
He makes 300K, that's a base, and 100K, that's a bonus.
So you're saying of his 400,000 that he makes, he will have to not, like, what does he really think he can make in a new job that is, a lower amount? But what do you think is the amount that he would make in a new job that where he doesn't have to work 100 hours a week?
200 to 250.
Okay. So you think he can make 200 to 250. You make 130. That's plenty because you're spending $8,000 to $10,000 a month, right? So you feel comfortable with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And you're both maxing out your retirement accounts. Do you do pre-tax or do you do a Roth type of retirement account?
Pre-tax, but I have listened to your show for a while. I know I need to start doing the Roth starting next year.
We'll see. Yeah. Well, certainly when his income goes down. Let's look at this for a second. Stand by while I pull out my handy dandy little grid of tax rates. It is possible that you guys are going to go from, well, you're probably in the 35%. You'll go down to 32%. That could be kind of good for you. You may even go down to 24%. It kind of depends. But in that case, I think it's worth at least one of you starting to use some Roth option. Okay. So tell us about the amount of money you've saved so far.
So for the retirement savings, we have combined a total of 400K. That's mostly in traditional 401k, and 100K, that's ESOP offered by my current company. Mm-hmm. So a combined retirement savings about $500,000.
That's great. Congratulations. What about non-retirement money?
Yeah, we have a high yield saving account that's 20,000K.
Okay.
And we also have a Vanguard brokerage account. As of today, it's 320K.
Look at you guys. That's good. How about money saved for your kid, for the 2.5-year-old? Any 529 plan?
Yes, we started saving that when he was born. So right now we have 30K there, and we contribute $500 every month.
Do you find that you slide money into your brokerage account every so often? Does that happen at bonus time? Or do you, in addition to the 529 plan, are you also putting some set amount of money into the brokerage account at Vanguard?
Yeah, every month we contribute to the Vanguard brokerage account about $7,000 or more.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. That is big. How much is your house worth?
The house we bought last year, $770K, the market value.
Okay. And what did you use a mortgage to buy the house?
Yes, we sold our townhouse. We bought this one. So we have $200K left.
And what's the interest rate on that?
3.75.
Oh my
We're
God.
so lucky last year.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy? Like you think about just in a year how things can turn around. It's why sometimes when, people will say to me like, well, we're thinking of buying. And sometimes I'm like, well, if you find the right place, then you may just want to jump in. Now it's almost the exact opposite advice, which is unless you find the perfect place and you got a ton of cash on hand, I'm happy for people to chill out. Well, it sounds like you're in amazing shape. I guess my question would be if your husband, takes a reduction, if he goes from making, 400 to 2 or 250, you'll probably not be able to save as much money in the brokerage account. But that's okay. I'm just like, even if you said, well, I can't save as much, he should. I don't know. I'm very much into like, please, you should have longevity in your career. And I think it's hard to have longevity in a career when you're working 100 hours a week for like, how long is that really going to last for you? For him, it's a lot, right? We'll get back to Carrie in just a minute. Don't forget, JillOnMoney.com. That's where you'll find us. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And if you've got a financial question, you've got a scenario you want to run by us, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. And there you'll find the Contact Us button. You let us know what's on your mind. And you can also, just while you're there, sign up for our free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. And I think it's such a nice way to kind of get yourself prepped for the program. So go ahead and do that. All right, right now we are getting back to Carrie, who is on the line from Virginia. What's the concern that prompted you to get in touch with us?
So the issue is I have, my parents right now are overseas. They are 66, 67, and I plan to move them over. We plan to do a green card application for them. Mm-hmm. So when they come over, they will have no Social Security benefits or Medicare or anything. They will bring $500,000 cash when they come. Mm-hmm. And every year they will have $15,000 retirement by their home country. Mm-hmm. So other than this, they will have nothing. I need to support them for the rest of their life. Probably I'm looking for about 15 to 20 years. Mm-hmm. If they're
right. Hopefully, right? If everything is good. Will your parents come live with you?
No.
I'm going to tell you what. I want to tell you something. Mark is about to jump in and give you all of the advice. I feel like this sounds eerily familiar, Mark, doesn't it?
Yeah, Carrie, we did the same thing. My wife's parents came over from another country and they're living here, not with us, but we also applied for the green card. And thankfully, we just got it a couple months ago. So yeah, we went through the exact same process.
So how do you think about that, Mark, when you're doing your own? Do you think about that for her parents? Do you allocate some money when you're doing your own planning to consider that? Or I mean, they're living in the first apartment that Amanda purchased, so that's a help.
Yeah, but I mean, it still has a mortgage, so we're, still paying for that. In between, before they had their green card, you never know what's going to happen. If something came up healthcare wise, we were on the hook for that. So Amanda definitely was putting more into her brokerage account, knowing that. Now that they have their green card and they're eligible for Medicaid and all that stuff, that's definitely eases some of the concern on the healthcare front.
So what should Carrie do with this money that's in cash, that they're going to come over with cash? Should that not be spent invested, or should that remain liquid? What's the best way to approach that?
For us, what we did, we knew what we would need for housing costs, for the mortgage and the maintenance of the co-op where we live. That stuff we put aside in cash, like 2 years. We always had 2 years in cash.
So, Carrie, in the money that's coming over, will that money be able to come over in one fell swoop, or will there have to be some process by which the money comes in a little bit at a time?
So right now they're trying to sell all their properties in their home country. So their plan is to use the money to buy a house or something so they
I
can have a
see.
place to live.
But near you, right?
Yes, near me.
Can they buy something? Would they be able to buy something near you, spending less than that full $500,000, or will they really need to spend $500,000 on that?
The problem is because they're old. They're not that old, but in the future they will not be able to go up and down the stairs.
Right.
So ideally, I would like them to have a one floor, either a condo or a single house, just a small place.
Right. Like if you had a small ranch house, they could live on one floor, and that's a place you could age in. When they first come, are they going to rent?
Yes, for a year. That's the plan.
Okay. So I think Mark's idea about having 2 years. So what do you think it's going to cost rent wise?
It's $2,000 per month per
Okay.
a one bedroom apartment near me.
Okay. So here's what I would think. You know that 320 that's in your Vanguard account? I think that probably about half of that right now should be like, you don't have to physically change anything. In your mind, I think you should consider that half of that money is going to be necessary to help your parents out, especially in the beginning. I'm not sure that's what it's going to be forever. I'm just saying that, like, for in the beginning, you need to have 25 grand for rent for, let's say it's 2 years. So you need to have 50 grand for rent, right? Did you say $15,000 each for them that they receive, or is it 15,000 total?
Total.
Okay. So I just don't think they're going to be able to live on $15,000 a year, since that is the poverty level. So how much more money do we think they need besides rent? So think about this, like utilities. So it's rent and it's utilities and it's food and it's all that. So, I have to think that's another 50 grand. Okay.
Yeah. So in my mind, I'm thinking about, probably $4,000
Yeah.
to $5,000, including healthcare for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Every month. So it's going to be very, very hard.
Well, I mean, it is possible that to start this process, what's going to end up happening is you can take the money that's going into your brokerage while your husband still has this big fat job, right? All that $7,000 a month should go into the high yield savings right now. There's no risk for this money. Okay. You're going to build that up. When do you think this is actually going to happen? The actual, like, we are bringing them here?
2024.
Okay, so we have all of next year. So I think in advance, the way I would think of it is I want to have 2 years of their total expenses set aside. Okay? Reason I'm saying 2 years is that what happens if you can't find a place immediately for them? And then, if they like where they rent, whatever, maybe that's something they do, but you're going to need a bunch of this money, like you said, $5,000 a month is going to be like what they need. So we need to make sure you have that. The question becomes how you choose to prioritize this. I know this is a terrible question, but for example, are you okay saying, well, we'll just max out our retirement accounts. We will not put any more money in the brokerage account because you'll need your cash flow to help out your folks. Are you okay with that? And if you are, it sounds like you are, like are you the only child?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to do this and we'll figure out the rest. Keep putting money. So here's what I think you keep putting money into. Either 529 is great. You keep maxing out your retirement accounts. I think the money that's going into that Vanguard account is the money, any excess money beyond what you have now going into those priorities, retirement, education, goes into your parents' account, quote unquote. When they eventually have the money available to buy something, you reassess and you say, are we right with the amount of money? Is it better that they just keep that cash and just rent for the rest of their lives? I mean, all these things are questions that you will be facing, but we don't have the answers yet. But in advance, I would say, in my head, I'd say, that Vanguard account, half of it's not mine. Half of it is being spent on my parents. Mark, do you think that's the right way to think about it?
It's the right way to think about it. I don't know if ultimately it'll end up being that much. And I will tell you that just plan on them being without health coverage for 1 year. It's going to take you a year. I can tell you for us, my in-laws arrived May 1st, 2021. and they got their green card in September of this year. So it was a little over a year.
So they better stay healthy. Make sure they take their vitamins and take their walks, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else? Oh, let me ask you a couple other questions. So, do you guys have life insurance, you and your husband?
Yes, my husband has a what's called a whole life.
Why does he have that? Oh,
his
it's
mother
old.
purchased that thing.
Okay. What do you have on your life? Is that through work or separately?
Through work.
How much is that? Like one time your salary?
Yes, 250K.
How about your estate documents? Do you have a will and a power of attorney and a healthcare proxy?
Yes, it's all done.
Okay, that's all done. I mean, I think that's it. You're a very good daughter. That's what I can say. You are.
Thank you.
You are. You really are. If you, like Carrie, have a financial question, you've got something going on, we'd love to hear from you. Just go to jillonmoney.com, click the contact button, and we'll get you on the air. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here answering your financial questions. And you are maybe a voyeur, maybe you're thinking about your own financial life, and maybe you're contemplating as we come into the end of the year how you can make better financial decisions in the future. And if that's the case, you might be considering whether to swap out a current financial advisor, getting one, talking to somebody different. If that's where you find yourselves, then we encourage you to check out our sponsor. It's called Facet Wealth. So they're the sponsor of the show, and they provide financial planning services. They do so for a fixed fee. And what they do is they really try to provide this financial advice in an unbiased way. They don't even try to. They do, because they're all certified financial planners. They meet with you personally. They act solely in your best interest. And so if you think that's a kind of relationship you want to check out, here's what you can do. Visit cbsaudio.com/Jill for 2 months free off your first year of financial planning. Okay, so right now we're going to answer an email from Cheryl, who writes, I'm 62, single, and I have a part-time job and also pulling $4,000 a month from my retirement. I wonder if she means from her retirement accounts. She says she's got a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA, $2 million in a traditional IRA. Oh my God. In order to pay the lowest in taxes for the transfer from the traditional IRA, I would like to transfer $200,000 out of it this year, but since it will go from a traditional to the Roth in kind. So let me just say that what I think Cheryl is asking about is she's got a bunch of money in a traditional and she's got some money in a Roth. She would like to transfer money from her traditional to her Roth, and she's trying to see if she can do an in-kind transfer. You know what that means, gang? It just means like I keep all the stuff that I own and I move it into another account. However, I don't know if you can even do that. It doesn't matter if it were a in-kind, which I don't think you can do, or not. You got to pay tax on it. So you can just forget about that. You have to actually pay the tax on the amount of money that you're moving out of a traditional retirement account. Converting means you have to pay the taxes now.
And by the way, she's asking, should she try and pick a day as to when she should do this conversion with the market bouncing all over the place? No, just do it. If you're going to do it, just do it.
Just do it. Come on, guys. You can't make yourselves crazy like this. I don't know what you're all thinking. Like, we don't know how to time the market. I don't know how to time the market. Nobody does. Mostly when people do say, like, oh, I time the market, is usually by luck, truly. That's my favorite story, though, when someone, remember the guy who had the Bitcoin and it was trading at like 60,000 and we're like, just sell it. And he's so psyched now, right? He sold it, not because he was such a genius. He just like happened to pick a day where he happened to call us. I could have told him that exact same advice when it was at 30,000. It just so happened he called us when it was making all-time highs. He made it into the book, by the way. So, I hope he did sell it because it made a good story. Okay, this is a question from Chris. Subject, what to do with cash? What would be your suggestion for, okay, this person? Here he is, Chris. I retired a year ago with $110,000 in my 401k. I had an advisor with Fidelity and paid her $100 per month. After 4 months, I felt the stock market was going to start heading in the wrong direction, which it did big time. And I terminated the advisor and I converted my entire 401k to cash. The RMD comes out of this. The remaining balance just dribbles into one of my bank accounts to the tune of $340 per month. I don't know if you were prescient or whatever, but now you're in cash. I don't know how old you are, but this is kind of interesting. Chris also has $166,000 in a checking account with a bank, doing nothing. I thought I might work part-time. I seem to be enjoying my retirement, so likely I'm not going to do that. No mortgage, no car payment, no bills, food, insurance, monthly income with a survivor's benefit and Social Security of $3,200. So it sounds like that income covers the needs. All right, Chris goes on and says, I thought about taking part of the checking account money and investing it in short-term, no-risk CDs at a bank that's paying 3%. I've got no stomach for the stock market. When I was in it just after retirement, my son told me to sit tight as the market will come back. Here we go. That's probably true, but at 73 years of age, I could be dead before the market comes back. I bet not. But, here's the most important fact. Chris writes, I'm just not comfortable with it. And by the way, Chris doesn't have to get comfortable with it if $3,200 a month covers all of the needs that are out there for income purposes. So what do I recommend with the money in Fidelity? Sure. Why don't you build a little CD ladder? That seems fine with me. And you don't have to pay an advisor again. And I think that it would be very interesting for you to have a bank account where you have some CDs that are coming due every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. That's a CD ladder. You buy it different terms. As they come due, you reinvest them. And that seems fine to me. But if you don't like risk, you don't like risk. And far be it for me to try to convince you otherwise, especially if you have the income that you need. And that's really the key, right? If you've got the income, then you don't really have to. Okay, Geraldine writes, saving for retirement at 66 years old. Here's the message. I don't have any savings for retirement or Social Security because of divorce and changing countries and not being able to work for a few years. No financial advisors will help me unless I have at least $250,000 or $500,000. I bought some stocks, which are down at the moment. I have some crypto. I don't count on that. I usually have about $40,000 a year to put somewhere. I put $15,000 on my mortgage so far this year. I also pay $500 a month towards principal. Condo is worth $800,000. The mortgage is $130,000. Should I be paying down my mortgage or opening a SEP IRA or putting money elsewhere? I am self-employed and I earn $160,000 gross a year and I net about $90,000. Here's what I would say. I think that we need a bigger game plan. And I get it that you don't have someone actually assisting you, but I would not pay down your mortgage right now. I would probably even skip the SEP IRA. I might just put money in a brokerage account. And I would try to make sure that I had I would probably have a full year of your expenses in the bank, just very boring. If you've got another $40,000 to invest, then I would make sure that I invest in a brokerage account. So it's already been taxed. And I don't think I would pay down that mortgage because you're going to need some liquidity. You don't mention about how much money you do have, but if you're continuing to work, that's good. And you're putting away 40 grand a year. You could build up a nice brokerage account. Some nice, boring index mutual funds will do you right, I think. I hope that helps. It's Jill on Money, and we'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
you're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are answering these questions as fast as you can send them to us. They're all money questions. They're financial. Even if it's the same topic, it's different circumstances, and your circumstances are always different. So we'd love to hear from you. Just go to our website, jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button, and we'd be happy to answer the question either by reading your email or getting you on the air live. It's that easy. We are now going to answer a question from Lydia. So here's our email from Lydia. Oh, by the way, Mark, look at this. Here's the message. Hi, Mark. What am I? Okay. Mark, do you want to answer this? I'll just read it to you. You can answer it. Here we go. Let me read it to you. Hi, Mark. I inherited my mother's IRA when she passed away in February of 2021. I was told I have to withdraw funds in order to be taxed on it. I was told I can't transfer the funds since it's inherited, so I don't know what I can do with this account. So I'm just ignoring it until it becomes a problem. Mark, any advice or resources would be appreciated. Thank you, Lydia. Mark, what would you like to say to that?
Why can't she transfer? That doesn't make any sense.
The only reason that I could think of is if it is a trust account, but it can't be. It's an IRA. She's the beneficiary of it. She can do whatever she wants with it. I think that maybe there might be some confusion. You could transfer it somewhere else, but it has to stay as a beneficiary IRA for as long as you want to keep it that way. The money has to be taken out of this account over the course of the next 10 years, and you can do whatever you want with it. That's it. And the only thing that I guess maybe you might not be able to transfer some of the funds if they're Morgan Stanley funds, but so what? Get out of there. You can definitely transfer this, and you should be taking the money out, and you can dribble it out every year for 10 years, or if you find yourself in 1 year where you have a lower tax liability, you can take more out. But the money has to come out over the course of 10 years. Okay. This is from Eric, who has greetings for both of us this time, Mark. Greetings, Jill and Mark. Let's see if y'all will answer another question of mine. Okay. Since I'm 34 years old, this is more of a curiosity. I'm trying to learn something from every episode, even when the question or circumstance doesn't really apply to me specifically. Okay, here we go. I'm referencing your November 22nd episode, but I've heard it come up lately. The caller was 56 and not going to withdraw any money before age 59 and a half, but you and Mark both recommended adding more money to the brokerage account, even though she wasn't maxing out her IRAs or 401k. I think the caller also had a Roth 401k option. Why would you not take advantage of the tax benefits of the retirement account, especially since the age 59 and a half paywall won't be a factor? Because at some point, you already have a lot of money that's been deferred of taxation, and it compounds a problem over time. So what I would tell you to do, Eric, is if you listen to our episodes with Ed Slott, that gives you a really good understanding of the idea around the money that is pulled out pre-tax can become a problem later in life. Why? Because you are forced to take a certain amount of money out every single year once you turn age 72. And the money that is forced to come out comes out at whatever the tax bracket is at that time in the future. That can really start to add up to big money. The dollars that are invested keep growing. And when you take that money out, you don't know what tax bracket you'll be in the future. You also don't know whether or not that's going to impact how much you pay for Medicare. As far as putting money into a Roth, sometimes we say, you don't really need it. Sometimes it's nice just to have the money that is in a brokerage account because you need liquidity. So sometimes we like building up the liquid assets. So now Eric is saying that we gave the caller the advice to split the difference, which subject her to double taxation in the brokerage account. I don't see what do you mean double taxation in the brokerage account? You mean because the money that is going to be taxed during accumulation phase?
I think he's saying because you're putting in after-tax dollars into the brokerage account, and then you would be paying capital gains, whereas versus a Roth 401k, it all comes out tax-free, capital gain-free.
Yeah, I mean,
I can get on board with the Roth 401k argument. As far as the pre-tax 401k, no, that I can't get on board with.
I can't really even get on board with that because sometimes I don't think you need, I think having money available. Okay, so this is just experience talking. This is like talking to a doctor who knows what the patient's going to do versus what the science tells you. You know, the science is like, well, if you tell them to stop smoking, they'll stop smoking. Not really. This is what I think, Eric. I think a lot of times people who are retiring have a hard time accessing the money that they've put into those Roth accounts or traditional accounts. There's something that builds up emotionally that makes it very difficult to tap those accounts later. So sometimes I think it's nice to have a brokerage account where there are no rules and there's no boundaries. And sometimes those boundaries, I know they're emotional, but they're there still. So yeah, I can get on board with a Roth 401k, but I'm telling you right now, I know a lot of people, once that money goes into a retirement account, they are loath to take it out. And that bums me out because I really want people to be able to enjoy their lives and their money and really think about what's going to make them happy. You know, that's kind of what I think. It's the Jill on Money Show. We love to hear from you. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Send us your question and maybe even come on the air live. We'll be right back. You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show. And before we finish up, let's get to an email. This is from Chantal, who says, upon review of my Roth IRA, not through my employer, I noticed the beneficiary is listed as the estate, and there's another category of contingent that is blank. Should I leave it as is, or should I list my 26 and 30-year-old children as the beneficiaries as I do with my other accounts? I do have an estate plan, and there is a revocable trust, and was advised not to name the IRA in the name of the trust because of the tax implications. Just wanted your advice on this. Okay, the simple answer is that you should absolutely list your 26 and your 30-year-old as the beneficiaries, like you do with the other accounts. And I think there is a reason here that maybe it was left to the estate when maybe the kids were younger. That's a possibility, or just pre-populated. But I think the issue is that the kids are likely to be in a lower tax bracket than the estate itself. They'll get the money faster. It passes by contract. Just all around a better idea. So go ahead, make those changes. Absolutely encourage you to do that because it'll clean up the estate plan. If you have a financial question, an estate planning question, a life insurance question, you know where to come to us at JillOnMoney.com. You can do all sorts of things, like you can pre-order the new book, The Great Money Reset. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. And you will also be invited to join us for a live webinar, and that's going to be in February. The book drops in January. You can do all this stuff right now, and you'll get a free book plate. It's all so cool. So we really would hope you do that. And also, we hope that you will use the content that is created on the website to your benefit. You can sign up for the free weekly newsletter, check out all the other stuff that's going on, podcasts, blog, videos, resources, everything. It's all there for you. All right, I think that's it. So we want to remind you, our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer. Every week we ask you to please put your hands metaphorically on someone's back. It's the time of year and you should do it anyway. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.